I wish they did a better job in terms of the background music. It doesn't seem to match. Then again, this is one of the worst games in the series, but the song is alright. I just wish it needed more work. Welcome back to another chapter of Shinnok's Uprising. Last time, we just went through another faction involving Liu Kang and Kai. They were separated by the Army of Darkness and they had to escape and rest up at a nearby tomb, which probably was a bad idea, but they didn't know. They thought it was deserted until they were ambushed by more of those Onis, and they were led by Raiko, one of Shinnok's esteemed generals. And Liu Kang was able to defeat him, but it was all like a sucker punch because he took Kai into the Edenian palace, the ransacked palace, leaving Liu alone and vulnerable. Because come on, he had no one left. Tanya actually came to his aid, but thanks to Jade, he actually averted Liu's death at the hands of her and Quan Chi, because they were about to lure the champion away into a trap in the underground tunnels, and Jade had a change of heart with the champion because he was the one who liberated Edenia from Shao Kahn. So, we got one more faction to go, and this one includes Nightwolf and Sub-Zero. So let's get this started. Alright, Continuation 6, Bloodstained Hands. This was definitely the hardest faction I had to make. I swear, if this was made into a game with each separate scenario, this would have been labeled as difficult, hands down. I hope I'll feel so much better once this is done. Nightwolf and Sub-Zero continue to fight off the Army of Darkness while they lost the other combatants in the melee. It wasn't too long before the waves of enemies began to overwhelm the duo. Kwai tried to keep at it with his skilled cryokinesis, allowing him and Nightwolf to land several targets. However, the Stampede was able to breach through the ice blockade, making the warriors retreat. They still looked back and took out any foe and was closest to them. Yet still, the endless barrage kept drawing the men away and into a nearby abandoned granary. Sub-Zero was about to form another, though larger, ice block covering the outer space, until their eyes adjusted to the shadows, making out a silhouette of a monster with a blade protruding from each of his two arms. He slashed through every Oni, general, and demon with minimal effort, and kept letting out those monstrous hisses all the while, as if he had an insatiable appetite of flesh and blood. He never fed on the enemies, though, just sliced right through them. The oncoming melee began to ease up afterwards, and Nightwolf and Sub-Zero braced for the worst as the stranger sneered at them. I'm sure you know who that is. It wasn't entirely unexpected as that mutant lunged to the group. Nightwolf took on the battle with his soul weapons clashing against the retractable arm blades. From the dim lighting, the heroes made out the assailant, bearing fangs and all. It's a Tarkatan! Could it be Baraka? Duh, you think so? The shaman continued to clash with them, and the carnivore's only drawback was relying too much on close combat. The Matoken remembered fighting Shiva and keeping his distance, so he did the same. He was fortunate the enemy didn't have a lot of body armor, so the Indian had clear shots. He decided to throw in his tomahawk, impaling Baraka in the chest. Once he was vulnerable enough, the warrior closed the distance and clobbered over him. While he was down, Sub-Zero froze up to his neck, which actually caused the axe to slip out. This should staunch your bleeding. Suffer from your pain. You're not going anywhere. Baraka just let out another disgusted hiss while the heroes walked up to him. Who do you fight for? We saw you hold back the Army of Darkness, then you turned on us. We don't work for Quan Chi nor Shinnok. Obviously you're obsessed on working for the next in line like you did with Shao Kahn, to quench your insatiable appetite of flesh and blood. That was why you massacred those innocent monks in the Wuxi Academy. Your leader is finished, and so will you. Sub-Zero reached in and squeezed Baraka's neck. He roared in protest and spoke in a softened snarl. Apparently his defeat put an end to his ravenous and bloodthirsty ways. Nightwolf and Sub-Zero weren't buying it. Can you blame them? They questioned as to why he decided to attack them after he got rid of the demonic horde. Then again, the Tarkatans were known to have an uncontrollable urge to kill and sometimes devour their prey. I have known those slick demons from the nether realm. Me and my kind were once bred from those abominable creatures, or at least had our DNA mixed with their blood. With that statement, the process of creating Melina from the flesh pits entered their minds and made them stutter. So you are all classified as mutants, each with different abilities they had excelled, like different specialized hunters aside from being seasoned cannibals. Then you got your blood soaked with demons? Baraka was relieved that Khan didn't re-emerge after his demise. He countered that he and his army were employed by the Emperor in causing that massacre at the Academy, thus igniting the second tournament. While the invasion of Earthrealm was just out of spite, Baraka also knew of the many stragglers that managed to escape from the Horde place of existence about a day ago. He recognized some of them, including the half-breed Melina, to which he despises, as well as Scorpion. Kwai was flabbergasted he had escaped. What do you know of him? He only escaped, mortal. He was involved in the breach from the Netherrealm and invaded Edenia. I witnessed this incident and rallied up my clan, till we were constantly being bombarded by those same demons. I cannot stand being conquered and be treated like feral rats. Unusually, Kai had no desire on killing Scorpion after finding out the truth from Sub-Zero, heads up! He looked up and the duo leapt away just seconds before a volley of fire burnt them. He let out his wrath like a dragon's fury, melting Baraka's icy prison. The flames created just enough light marking out the assailant's eerie features, including his horrid skull and yellow and black attire. Scorpion! Including the Tarkatan with a sore throat. The assassin covered his face with his signature mask and was only fixated on Sub-Zero. Get over here! He stuck out two of the lethal spears from his left hand toward his bitter rival, in which he backflipped and created an icy statue to which it shattered into thousands of crystal shards. Kwai closed in with air kicks that knocked his opponent down, but he got up quickly. Kwai grabbed his kicked leg and socked him in the face, but Scorpion's reflexes were resilient enough to knock him off with a counter kick. A series of punches and kicks fluttered toward each other until Scorpion suddenly dove through the ground. Kai hesitated until he felt the sudden body heat from behind. He grabbed and tossed Scorpion over his shoulder, then Scorpion countered with a direct kick to his chest. This made him back away and left him hunched and sore. Vulnerable, the assailant did a roundhouse kick to Kwai's face, pummeling him to the ground. He unveiled his skull and breathed fire again and countered against Kwai's ice blast, even backing it away. He dodged the volley but was caught off guard from Scorpion's teleportation kicks, both on the ground and in the air. The hapless ninja was caught in each merciless blow, till he was slammed back into the ground with his lethal impact creating a small crater and fissure. As he slowly rose, he spoke. I do not wish to fight you, Scorpion. I did not kill your clan, and neither did my brother. Scorpion held his rival down with a heavy boot on his chest. You and your sibling are murderers, Sub-Zero. You may be my killer's brother, but that doesn't make you innocent, and yet you still have my clan's blood in your hands. You shall perish and suffer for eternity in the Netherrealm, just as I did. No, I'm not responsible for your family's deaths. Quan Chi framed my brother. He killed them himself. You're lying! Still stunned on his back, he implored, I can prove it. Nightwolf and Smoke reprogrammed a leftover data chip of Sector, one of the Lin Kuei's cyber assassins. He should have known that Scorpion wasn't quite aware nor around when Oniro declared the advanced and soul-wrenching program and transformations. Crossed his blades from the distant shadows, urging to slice open that demon limb from limb. I will annihilate that hell spawn! Nightwolf just stuck out an arm. No! We have what we need to prove him otherwise. He dug into his side pocket and pulled out the shiny data chip. Scorpion! The cursed ninja turned and saw the shaman walk out of the opaqueness, ready to pounce on him like hapless prey. Smoke and I managed to reprogram Sector's data. This chip shall show you what really happened. Quan Chi has lied to you all this time. I will prove it to you, but you must fight the darkness that is consuming you from within your soul. Resist the manifestation. He stuck out a hand as the ninja continuously marched toward him, kept on the incantation which seemed to grind the curse bearer to a halt. Fight the darkness! Fight the darkness! As if he was speaking into the undead's mind, if he actually had one. With his free hand, Nightwolf activated the data chip which flashed in neon red and opened a hologram over what transpired. Through the fuzzy surveillance which would have been as clear as the virtual boy, pun intended, it showed Quan Chi in a recording of a conspiracy he was discussing with the former Grandmaster inside the Shaolin Temple at a circular throne from which was the topmost floor. Bihan was received with gratitude as the thief was successful on his deeds eliminating Hanzo. Quan Chi in fact had offered a map which was said to lead to the Temple of Elements, housing a powerful amulet. He hired Bihan to retrieve the aforementioned artifact. He dumped a series of fallen bones and skulls, spilling them onto the floor in order to give the Lin Kuei's payment. Through the fuzzy screening, there were 3 skulls, one smaller as if belonging to a young child. Scorpion's soulless eyes widened as the image of a little boy still in flesh close to his mom flashed before them. The words in the chip were muffled, but the conversation between Quan Chi and Bihan ignited between them, symbolizing their bitter service to one another. It then shifted in clearing static to the footage in which Bihan laid wounded as Scorpion towered over them, about to kill the cryomancer for vengeance until Quan Chi stepped from the shadows, and even mocked to Hanzo that he was indeed responsible. Quan confessed in front of the doomed ninjas that he not only killed the Shiraryu by himself, but also created Scorpion from Hanzo's corrupt soul after his death, turning him into the vengeful specter that compelled him to unfairly blame and kill Bihan during the first tournament, and had been the curse-bearer ever since. In his rage, Scorpion ran into the demon sorcerer, while his head was flashing before they both dissipated in thin air. The chip went blank after that. Hanzo's corrupt spirit, just like Takita's. The great Kung Lao fought off a wraith possessing him, and turned him as the demon Scorpion. He was the one who burned Jen inside the Temple of Light. This must have been the acts of Quan Chi's necromancy. Actually, that was by Shang Tsung. He rose gradually by Nightwolf's assistance, blamed Quan Chi's treachery for Scorpion's downfall and Bihan's death, holding no grudge against Hanzo. He held his head trying to process the new intel which contradicted his own actions, believing Quan all this time. Why? Why was I so consumed by hate? While doubtful, his voice sounded different, more human, no longer having that unnatural echo. You finally regained your senses then. Do you remember your son's name? My son. His name was Satoshi, and my wife Harumi. Both men were stunned, instead of Baraka's, as he just hid himself behind one of the rear pillars before he slipped away. Where's Baraka? The shaman looked around. He's gone. He must have escaped while Scorpion exhaled that fiery stream. The yellow ninja pointed a finger. Hanzo, please. The pair marched up to him and quite hesitated before he offered a hand. But why? It was not your fault, Hanzo. You weren't responsible for my brother's death, just as we didn't massacre your own clan, despite us being blind rivals, as that wraith inside you brought despair and darkness to yours, and mine. You were being manipulated by the all-evil power of Quan Chi. Your dead vessel by Bihan rendered your soul to be an easy target for Quan's influence and bound your thoughts to his. This wasn't the first time. A Sub-Zero here was one of his victims as well, while he and my comrades were infected by the gem of Tsuri manifested by him. I had heard stories of the great Kung Lao, and Shang Tsung tried on multiple occasions to keep his soul for himself. Even Quan. One of those times was when he used a wraith-possessing Takeda, a promising friend of Baron's, to kill Jen, before his body rotted. It was all that impure spirit all along. We both were played by the Quan Chi, and we're on our way to finish him. But with the overwhelming army, we can't do this alone. Blame Quan Chi, and together we shall restore all our clans. Kwai flashed back to the times when his elder brother served Quan. The one time before he lost his elder brother, Kwai remembered a talk he had. And this actually came from the comic, even though I don't follow them. What is the Temple of Elements? Bihan responded. It only exists to protect Shinnok's sacred amulet. That amulet that keeps him trapped in the Netherrealm. I do not understand. It is protected by the 4 elements: fire, wind, water, and earth. As long as that amulet remains on Earth, Shinnok can't escape the underworld. What has happened here, brother? I came here to make peace with the gods of the elements that you fought, but they're all gone, which means the temple is unguarded. Kwai's mind returned to the present, confused as to what the undiscovered amulet was, and why was the sacred temple unprotected. Unless Shinnok drove them away. To think we were all connected by this madman, even the monk that defeated me twice in the Netherrealm. That was Kung Lao. Your chance to redeem yourself and bring peace to your family is now. I can't help but feel this was my brother's own doing, bringing the sorceress back from hell. I should bear this burden. But what of this omnipotent amulet? Hanzo peeped, footsteps shifted at a distance. There's a tremendous array of shadowy figures with pointed edges, which the guys thought they were concealed weapons. Baraka stepped forward and hissed again. The crowd roared with their retractable blades raised. So you all came to fight, eh? We cannot wait to slice Quan Chi down to ribbons. We had been manipulated for the last time. We are the wild Tarkans, and shall not be blamed. Wait, who is it? Oh. The Tarkans are willing to fight alongside us. Figures, especially since they rave for killing and destruction. Typical nomads. If I'm correct, Melina should be in your midst. This made Baraka spat out profanities. We hold our own allegiance. I'll be more than happy to sick that weak half-breed into a blood sprinkler, just like Quan Chi. There've been some rumors from the Edenian invasion that she has returned from the Netherrealm, so they took the fight to fangs and blades. While mostly neutral, Baraka said the Tarkans still function as hobos, carnivores, and scavengers in the wastelands. They decided to work with Shiva and Katana since Melina was out of the picture. He was glad to no longer loathe the half-Tarkatan. Until now! Baraka and the Tarkatans ran straight for the Edenian palace, clearing the way for the heroes. All they did was face each other and shrugged in disbelief before they followed them. Most of the inspiration for this chapter was true underdog and the biggest loser in MK history, that being Baraka. I feel sorry for the guy. MK2, ever since, I was enthralled by that deadly general. Underdog himself stated he used to be a mutant till the term Tarkatan was made official in Deadly Alliance and were merged with demons. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to be as different as him nor Melina, sadly. I'm also so damn sick on having Baraka be a punching bag like Kung Lao, especially in the NetherRealm games, and his own ending in MK4. If you guys remember on my last epic, Baraka only fell into the water, as he was knocked off into the bridge by Liu Kang. At least he wasn't slain like Melina. I thought he was cool in Annihilation, even his kind depicting in Defenders of the Realm, even though he wasn't in it. Okay, it's gross that his fangs were made from fingernails and he was roughly inspired by Wolverine, but Baraka deserves a fair shot. And I included Scorpion's end scenario from MK4 depicted as winning over Bihan, and there was a reference to MK4 prequel comic, but I had to add them somehow. There's a thing I liked about the NetherRealm games. There's the moment in which Kwai analyzed Sector's data and presented it to Scorpion, or Hanzo, thus bringing peace to both clans. I thought this was the best thing 10 had covered. Besides, Nightwolf and Smoke are part of the team. How can I pass it up? And there are the songs for that. I wish Dr. Evil had his origin story. So, I finally got all the factions out of the way. I'm so relieved, especially since I'm close to the infiltration of the Edenian Palace. I actually got 3 chapters to go. I disliked how I needed to be out of the comfort zone, particularly Kung Lao and Aiko. I can't wait to do this next chapter. And neither am I to do it in this podfic. Until then, this is the Ekron Writer signing out.